What's up, guys? Hope you are having a great day. For today's video, I want to talk about the Washington football team, aka the Redskins, and what should they do with the 19th overall pick in this year's draft. Let's get into it. So, obviously this past year, the Washington football team, so annoying to say, they made the playoffs in that weak division, probably one of the worst divisions ever in the NFL. The NFC South, I think, NFC South, NFC East is what it is, NFC East, with the Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, and Redskins. Terrible conference, terrible division. They were all bad, but somehow Washington rose to the top of that group, and they made the playoffs. With that, they had to play Tampa Bay, and they lost to Tampa Bay at home. It was a close game. They almost won. I got to give them props. They almost won. They had a great defense, but they came up just short to the Super Bowl champions. But what they need to focus on this year's draft is mainly a offensive tackle. You know, they have the 19th pick. It's not too high. It's not too low. It's kind of in the middle where you can get a decent offensive tackle because no one really drafts offensive tackles up front. Especially this year, there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks and receivers. So offensive tackles might slide back to the later picks. So I think they can easily grab one of those because they're going to have a quarterback come in, a young quarterback, to help, build around it. Now, another option they can do is they could trade up. They could trade their first round pick, maybe trade a couple more picks combined with that, and go higher to get a quarterback that they want. Ron Rivera, he's very into veteran quarterbacks, so who knows if they'll make that move. But it would be a smart move to get a player in this year's draft if it's top 6 at least. Maybe they can get Kyle Trask if he's there, or the guy from Texas A&M, I forget his name, but he's really good, Kellen Mond. So there's going to be guys that will fall back. It's just how far are you willing to go for it. And based on Ron Rivera's track record, he doesn't really trade up for quarterbacks. So they'll probably just stick with veterans or get one in a trade or something like that will happen. Now for the draft, obviously, like I said before, I think they should go for an offensive tackle. Very valuable pieces to have. It protects your quarterback, protects their blind side, protects their front side. It protects them, from getting hurt. Offensive tackles are very valuable. They're not talked about a lot. They're not on the news or anything, but they're really, really good players, and they can really help your team either perform well or perform badly. As far as the defensive side of the football, they are very good. They have a great defensive line, probably one of the best in the NFL. A lot of young talent on that defensive line. They could use some help in the secondary. That's like their main weakness and on their defense and on their team is their secondary. Their front seven is great. They don't need to improve any of that. It's their secondary. They can get a couple more players to help build that in the draft. That would be very successful for their team. Like I said before, on the offensive end, they got a couple wide receivers this offseason to go with the one they had last year. So they have a good offensive threat. It's just, one, they don't have a star quarterback. Two, they need a couple help on the defensive secondary. That's pretty much all they need to be a competitor in their conference and actually win more games than they did last year. They got to compete against New York and Dallas. I don't think the Eagles will be that good next year. So they just got to compete against 2 teams. And if they can do that, they have a chance of making the playoffs again, but with an even better team. But yeah, they really need a quarterback. Ryan Fitzpatrick, as good as he's been as a veteran, as good as he has helped every team that he's been on, he's not a franchise quarterback. He's not someone that can lead your team to a Super Bowl. He's a good backup to have for sure. He's just not that star type. The Washington team really needs a quarterback, a couple secondary pieces, maybe a tight end, and then they'll be really good. Maybe a running back as well. So, yeah, that's pretty much it with the 19th pick. Just talking about what the Washington football team should do. Again, they have a lot of options. They can trade up, draft an offensive lineman, draft a running back, do whatever they want, but as long as it helps their team. So if you're a Washington football team, aka Redskins fan, comment down below, what do you think your team should do with the 19th pick? Should you trade up? Should you draft someone? Let me know. Other than that, be sure to like this video and subscribe. Peace.